sell you to a bizarre creature who takes you straight to the nether world to study in the demon school. We are in the anime. Welcome to Demon School, episodes 1, 2, and 3. Somewhere in the ocean, a fishing boat is going through an unpleasant situation. Iruma Suzuki is one of the crew members. At the age of 14, he is forced to work there because his parents were horrible people and refused to support him, leading the boy to make this tragic decision. With the terrible storm that was destroying that area, the fishes began to fall from the places where they were stored, creating a big mess. The young man tries to hold some, but in the middle of that chaos, time freezes over. The boy is shrouded by a frightening sensation. He is confronted by a mysterious figure who ties him up and puts a sold seal on him. After this, time flows again as if nothing had happened, but the boy simply disappears from the boat. A short time later, he finds himself floating through a dark and terrifying world. Wondering where he is, the unknown being replies that this is the nether world, home of the demons. The demonic creature reveals that it is called Sullivan and has kidnapped the boy because his own parents have sold his soul to the creature. Iruma is astonished to hear this, but then reconsiders, accepting that his parents would really do something like this. Even so, he is still frightened by the current situation, struggling endlessly, thinking of the various atrocities he would suffer at the creature's hands. But when he arrives at Sullivan's castle, he realizes that things are quite different from what he was thinking. He is placed on a throne and receives an unusual request from the devil, who asks him if he would like to be his grandson. His greatest dream, and he was constantly jealous of his friends who already had grandchildren. Iruma asks the old man if he really has the choice to decide whether or not to accept it. The creature replies that it does not intend to force the boy into anything and that only he had the power to choose. At this point, we understand that the protagonist is not a bad person, even being too kind in certain situations. He never says no to anyone. After, the demon tells him the 3 words that make him perform any kind of request. They are, help, please, and I beg you. With his habit of not denying anyone anything, the boy accepts the contract and ends up officially becoming Sullivan's grandson. He quickly gets a new room and a school uniform. His new grandfather tells him that because he had a traumatic childhood, he was never able to go to school, so Iruma should attend a demon school. He then pours a bottle of perfume on the boy, warning him that if he arrives at school smelling like a human, he will immediately be devoured. For this reason, the perfume will help him to no longer have the scent of humans. At the end of the conversation, Sullivan reveals to the boy that if he had not accepted his request, he would be devoured at his dinner. As he leaves his grandson's room, he tells him that he should go to sleep, because the next morning would be his admission ceremony in the new school. When he leaves the place, the demon is approached by his butler Opera, who questions him about his decision to adopt a human, since the old demon could have as his grandson any other demon in the world. However, his master replies that he will soon understand the reason for his choice. The next morning, the boy takes a picture with his grandfather at the school entrance so that they can keep this moment unforgettable. Sullivan then says goodbye to his new grandson, and Opera takes upon himself to take the boy to the entrance of the school, where the way to get there was through a long and haunting valley. Iruma heads for the auditorium, where the whole ceremony will take place. Meanwhile, several students are arriving at the place with their demonic wings. With all the students now present, the Babel's Demon School admission event begins. The beings from the nether world begin to sing the school hymn that reinforces the honor of being a demon and that the only function humans have for them is to serve only as food. At the end, a short speech by the school principal is announced. All the students admire him greatly and recognize him as the future king of demons. However, to the misfortune of Iruma, who was trying not to attract anyone's attention, he finds out that his new grandfather is the school principal himself. Sullivan takes the stage and announces to everyone that he has a new grandson and that he will be studying at that institution. Showing the large crowd a photo he took with the boy, Modius approaches the stage to make his presentation. The instructors announce that there has been a mistake and that he would no longer be participating in the ceremony. It is announced that the director's grandson would be the new head of speech. The boy knew what he was saying, after all, the whole crowd. One of the instructors tells him that it was very dangerous and amazing at the same time. When questioning the professor about what he had just read, the demon replies that it was a powerful spell that, if by any chance misread, would result challenges the rookie to a duel. The boy challenges the rookie to a duel for stealing all the spotlight, and again Iruma has the attention of all the students in the school. The prodigy student conjures several fireballs toward the protagonist, causing numerous explosions. However, surprisingly, the boy manages to dodge all the powerful attacks for 20 minutes. It is at this point that we learn that the reason he had this supreme ability to dodge was because he was never lucky. After going through hell at the hands of his parents, he became a master at dodging anything that was dangerous, scary, or painful. His skill points may be 0, but his defense is infinite. This technique is called overwhelming crises evasion capability. Asmodeus is annoyed to realize that his magic is not working, so he decides to use his martial arts. With this, he conjures a sword of fire and advances toward the boy, who apologizes throughout the whole time. However, as he strikes his blow, Iruma uses his opponent's strength to stop his own attack, this being one of his special techniques. As he does so, an explosion occurs and incredibly the protagonist applies a German suplex on his opponent, leaving everyone there thrilled with the end of the duel. Once in the principal's office, the boy is terrified by all the events. His grandfather is proud of his incredible achievements on the first day of school. Asmodeus enters the scene and bows in front of Iruma, telling him that he is at his disposal. Asmodeus tells him that it is his first day of school. After all, the previous day only the admission ceremony took place, and from this moment on the boy would have to start attending classes. Iruma is afraid of this because he is still not used to this crazy school and tries to tell Sullivan that he does not want to go to school, but he is unable to express his own opinion. He eats his breakfast and realizes that the food is as good as that of the human world. At the end, the demon shows his grandson the amazing school supplies he has bought for him, including even an Hellraiser clock, to wake him up every morning. As he leaves home for his school, the boy is confronted by the horde of students flying towards the school. Iruma tries his best not to attract anyone's attention, but when he arrives at the place he meets Asmodeus as part of the nation of familiars. It was an old tradition at Babel's, where students summon a magical beast and make it their subordinate. The student's ranking will be determined by the beast he can summon. When they arrive at the evaluated by Professor Nibirio's Collego, who is also a school counselor. He has a frightening presence and ends up distasting Iruma for his speech at the ceremony, wishing intensely that the boy would fail the ritual. He then shows everyone a panel that teaches them step by step how to perform the invocation, starting by drawing a circle of blood on a piece of parchment, then going into the magic circle with the parchment in hand, and immediately holding it over the candle so that it burns. With this, the released smoke will take a shape, and your familiar will appear. Irritated by that fluffy explanation, the teacher destroys the panel and orders the students to line up and immediately begin the ritual process. Students mostly succeed with their small invocations, most of them being small invoked familiars. It is Asmodeus' turn, and he quickly makes a circle of blood on the paper, and as he burns it his summoning begins to take shape, being a gigantic white serpent with demonic wings and a flaming tail. Everyone is amazed at the boy's familiar. The counselor recognizes that one is a Gorgon snake and expected no less from his student, for he knew of his incredible lineage. The teacher asks Iruma to be the next to perform the ritual, and as usual, the boy so he will be expelled from the school. Returning, one is in shock because the newcomer ended up invoking the teacher. After all, Nibirios gave all the students his own seal to prevent cheating. And since Iruma is a human and not a demon, he ended up performing a demonic invocation. However, the teacher was with only part of his body in the ritual circle. Angry, he asks the boy to push him through, otherwise his body will break in two. The protagonist obeys and once and for all concludes the invocation, transforming the professor into his servant, who at that moment became a small demon bird that could barely fly. Iruma wins the admiration of all the students for his amazing achievement. Nibirios is enraged by that situation and in his demonic form tries to attack the boy, but is quickly struck by a red lightning. After all, family members must obey their masters. After all the mess, the two go to the principal's office. The old man explains to them that it is not possible to cancel the pact, and also warns them that this ritual binds them for a year, and that if they try to undo it in any way, they will end up dead. When Professor Nibirios heard this, he decided to spend the rest of the day moping in his bed. Iruma went back to his school routine, where at this moment he was going to get his books to learn various subjects such as the basics of being a demon, curses, and pharmacy. Wherever the boy went he drew glances in his direction, and was quickly known by everyone in the school, becoming practically a celebrity for not having a defined ranking and for making a servant teacher. As he and Asmodeus pass through the hallway, they end up running into a demon girl who comes rolling out of her room knocking over several stacked boxes. She introduces herself as Clara, a very eccentric and completely extroverted girl. His friend tells him that this girl is called Clara Valid, a student who is famous for being very strange, and because of this, she doesn't have any friends. A teacher who was passing by notices the commotion of the students, ties the three of them up, and sends them to the schoolyard. When they arrive at the place, they realize how strange the girl is by asking to play with the two of them with several of her very dreadful toys and some rather disturbing games. She then asks Iruma to imitate some things. Clara uses the word please, and the protagonist agrees to do everything that is asked, imitating a tree, a very strong wind, and a demon dog. And so, the three of them spend most of the day playing and running around the grounds of the school. And finally, after 2 hours of non-stop running, Asmodeus and his friend fall breathless on the grass. The girl, realizing this, reaches into one of her pockets and pulls out a bottle of water and a snack for her new friends to eat. When asked what it was, she replies that it was a specialty of her family, being able to take anything she has ever seen at least once, straight out of her pocket. Iruma realizes that some students take advantage of Clara's ability, asking her several times for drinks and various kinds of food, and with her innocence she ends up handing over everything the others ask for. The next morning, the protagonist is awakened by his new Hellraiser clock and immediately goes to the school. His new friend was walking through the halls when she overheard a conversation from some colleagues she had helped before, saying that the newcomer was only taking advantage of her ability and that was kept talking to Clara. The girl is disappointed to hear this and leaves without anyone noticing her presence. Iruma was in the courtyard when he is surprised by the girl who knocks him down from behind. She asks if the boy would like to play one more time, but he promptly refuses. She doesn't need to cause much excitement. The same group of students who were taking advantage of her power arrive on the scene and ask for more drinks. As usual, the girl accepts. But this time, she conjures up a soda machine on the boy, telling him he must buy it with his own money. Asmodeus ends up teaching a lesson to the group that was taking advantage of Clara, and again the trio of classmates ends that day playing on the outskirts of the school. The next morning, Iruma's 2 new friends pick him up personally at his door. The boy is a little wary of this friendship, as he wonders if a human can really have demon friends. Asmodeus realizes that his friend doesn't have much idea what to eat, so he decides to make his plate while asking him to wait at the table. The protagonist is happy with this attitude. After all, he was bold. This was a booking and fainted. Clara was causing a stir at another stall that sold food. After all, she could just look at any food and reproduce it in her pocket. The store owner throws her out of the store, saying that this way he would have a colossal loss. With all the commotion going on, Professor Nibirios goes to the cafeteria to find out who was responsible for all the commotion. But when he gets there, he runs into Iruma, becoming even more enraged. The advisor discovers that, in fact, the cause of all the confusion was Clara, being a person he considered to be irritating, impetuous, and without regard for anything. He already hated her in every way. The girl then discovers that the teacher was her friend's familiar servant, and so she asks the boy to put a seal on his hand and raise it. Following this instruction, Iruma ends up invoking his teacher in the form of his familiar, and everyone in the place is again amazed by that invocation. The store owner realizes that they have taken a seal without paying and chases the 3 out of the cafeteria with his bamboo stick. Now lying on the school lawn, the trio talks about the possibility of being in the same class for the entire school year. Asmodeus informs them that the next day they will find out the names of the students in each class. Knowing this, the embarrassed protagonist asks the 2 students if they could become his friends, and they are confused by the question, answering that they don't know what a friend is. Iruma realizes that the demons don't know the concept of friendship, so he explains that it is someone you play with, eat with, and spend part of your time with. That said, Asmodeus and Clara accept his friendship, fighting among themselves to find out who will be friend number 1 and 2. At the school board, the principal and teachers finish the list of all classes. We then learn that Iruma and his 2 new friends are in the class of misfits, made specifically for problem students. So, what did you think of this anime?